Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Nemeka Onyeka Adhering. I want to share with us this very brief discussion on building to last, adhering to processes. Building to last, adhering to processes. One of the reasons why projects die still bad. One of the reasons why you have a lot of moribund businesses. One of the reasons why you have a lot of high mortality rates on SMEs in Nigeria and businesses is because of the same factors that are behind the reason why Nigeria today remain one of the most backward countries with deep potential yet to meet up its potentials. I say it with every sense of responsibility that there's no country, there's no nation, there's no geographical entity as blessed as this geographical entity within a 923,000 square kilometer landmass called Nigeria. We go back to 1960 when we had our independence. I always refer back because if you don't know where the war started between you, you will not know how to stop it or where to stop it. As at 1960, when we gained our independence from the Britishers, our GDP then was about 4 point. The value of our GDP then was about $4.3 billion. The value of the GDP of South Korea was about $3.9 billion. As at 1970, our GDP had grown to about $12.3 billion. GDP of South Korea was about $9.7 billion. Fact check me. Today, GDP of South Korea is $1.71 trillion. The GDP of Nigeria is less than $200 billion. Between 1960 to 1970, something happened that made us to maintain that lead over South Korea. We had an economy, we had a country, we had a constitutional and physical framework that allowed the regions were semi-autonomous and very strong. The center was very weak with very limited assignments in the exclusive list. The regions controlled 50% of whatever they earned as revenue, paid 30% to the central courts and 20% to the federal government of Nigeria. And the role of the federal government of Nigeria in the exclusive was limited to protection of providing security and then external relationship. The regions were the productive hubs. And each of these regions looked inward and developed at their own capacities. There were processes. Then we had in the old Eastern region a medical doctor, a very young medical doctor at the age of 39 became the premier of the old Eastern Nigeria in 1959. He as a doctor understood the importance of processes, understood the importance of diagnosis before prescribing solutions. The first thing Dr. Michael Ihen, God continually bless his lovely soul. The first thing he did was to engage a US consultant, one of the most professional group, to help him draw a massive roadmap on how to build the economy of the world. It was planked on agro-industrial revolution. And in 7 years, he did 214 kilometer agro-industrial belts. He built the fastest growing economy in the whole of the Commonwealth. He had one of the most secure regions. In fact, the regional police of the old Eastern Nigeria was reputed to be the most professional. Michael built to last. He understood the importance of research and development. He understood the importance of diagnosis before applying prescriptions. And the same thing in the old Western Nigeria. See, the North had massive granite pyramid, cotton, textile, old Western Nigeria, cocoa in the East, limestone, cement, coal, palm oil, and all other agro products. Infrastructure was developed towards enhancing those things, productivity. And we had a physical regime, a governance regime that allowed people to competitively move forward. Now, that brings me to building to last. It is the same thing. I was talking to somebody. If you're driving from Lagos all the way to Onitsha, you will see many filling stations abandoned. discrepant states. And I say to you, let me tell you what people don't understand. Somebody say, why do you want to do filling station when there are many abandoned filling? Let me tell you, most of those abandoned filling stations are projects used to launder money without prejudice to those who used good money to do their own filling stations. What happens here in Nigeria? Most of these projects you see, somebody set up a massive poultry farm. Somebody set up a massive poultry farm. And that poultry farm, all of a sudden, massive 20,000 bed poultry farm. The person, he was still occupying political office, either as a governor or a commissioner. He looted money somewhere, got extra money from over-inflated contracts. Now decided to go and embark. Maybe somebody wrote a proposal to them that was so fanciful, he just want to pour in the money there. Because it was not built based on processes. It was not built based on visions and conceptions. It was not something that came out of a place of passion. It was something that was actually used to launder money. And by the time they finish laundering the money and they're out of power to run it, they cannot run it. There is nobody who goes to build without first of all sitting down to count cost. Moses, before he built the tabernacle of God, first of all, got the vision. God showed him in a vision clearly what to build, how to build it, and what is required to build it. And when God had finished showing him, God also went and raised men with the right skill set, with the right knowledge, with the right understanding to help him build. And God linked them up. And God also steered the heart of people to give towards the building of that project. And because it wasn't a prayer that was built on corruption, he knew what he wanted to build, as shown to him by God. He knew what is required to build it. He knew the skill set required to build it. Immediately the people started contributing. Immediately they got to that amount that was required to build. He wasn't going to ask for anything excess because it was properly designed. BOQ was put in place. Designs was put in place. Moses told them to stop contributing. And of course, immediately he deployed what was contributed, the materials that was given, and got the right skill sets to do it. And Bible said he built according to the pattern God showed him. Bible said immediately he finished building excellently, the glory of God tabernacled down and covered it. When you build according to that set pattern, when you build in an excellent way, when you follow processes, there's always a glory awaiting for you at the end of the tunnel. I say this, the problem we have here is that we have many abandoned projects, we have many moribund companies because of corruption, because of inefficiencies, because you put the wrong people in the wrong places. You put, and abandon putting the right people in the right places. Genesis chapter 12 was clear about Isaac. There was famine in the land. There was depression. Things were so tough. And Bible said it wasn't the first time. There was famine in the land. The Bible was very clear. As there was famine in the time of Abraham, Isaac was already wealthy. Remember that Isaac inherited everything Abraham had. And Isaac was scared that he may go bankrupt. And Isaac decided he wanted to go down to Egypt. But he went to Abimelech. Then before he went, he saw the face of God and God told him to stay in that land. But Isaac did not fold his hand and engage in morning, afternoon, evening prayers alone. Isaac began to ask God how to go about it. And that was when his eyes opened. Since there is no rain coming from heaven, there is no dew, there is rain already stored up on earth, which is under the earth. And he began to think about how he would irrigate. And he remembered that his father built a well. And he went to begin to open that well. When he got to the first well, they challenged him. He will have fought and he will have won because his father left for him an army that could conquer 4 nations. But he didn't want to spill blood fighting. He left that well. He went to the second one. They contended with him. Every fight is not a fight that you need to fight. Isaac abandoned. But when he got to the third well and they never contested it, he called it Rehoboth, a place of peace. And he dug that well. He got water. He began to plant and he irrigated. He followed processes. Because there are conditions that must be put in place. There must be facilities. There must be right practices. There must be right technology. There must be right science. You must follow the process. And the Bible said, after he had finished farming, within that same year, he sowed and he reaped 100-fold. 100-fold is 10,000% return on investment. I know that most of us have read that scripture. And in our religious awareness, all we just saw is that God blessed him. Yes, God blessed him. But before God blessed him, he applied processes. Without the rain, without the sun, without the water, without the irrigation, without the right application of the right ingredients and nutrients, you cannot produce bountifully. And when he had finished doing it, that same year, because it was a very simple law of demand and supply, he was the only one who was not depending on the rain or from the sky. He was the only one who discovered, who saw a solution to the problem everybody was like. Everybody just closed their hands and was waiting for the rain to fall. And because he was the only one who had the supplies, it meant they have to pay the price to buy his goods. They said, see, one of the reasons why businesses fail is dishonest. I give you an example. We have a rice mill. My younger sister is here, Daniel, very honest girl, very hardworking. This girl, for all the processes, she followed processes. I never lost a couple working without my sister on this project. We knew the cost of what we are going to do. We knew where we are going to get paddy rice. We knew the cost of processing it. We put everything together. We know the price of logistics. We know the price we are going to sell to make good profit. We know how to do and produce quality rice that is fully destoned and fully polished. With my sister, who is very honest, we're able to make good, decent return on investment. I didn't lose a kobo. But I gave my money to another guy who claimed to be a pastor, who did not follow processes. And that boy now, and I couldn't answer it. There's not gossip behind that money. The money is about to enter voicemail. I am now going to be forced now to invite EFCC or go to police. Because somebody, because of dishonesty, refused to follow process. Because when you are honest, when you are not set in your mind to cut corners, you follow process. Most people do not follow process because they want to cut corners. Why you have many collapse buildings? Because people refuse to follow the right process. You know that to do 20-story building, there are the right materials that you're going to use. There is the right foundation that you're going to dip. There is the right piling you're going to do. When you want to cut corners and not follow, that building will collapse. And that is why this nation is in total shambles. Everything is very shambolic. So guys, and I'm persuaded to share also this. Let me tell you, this land is a land where we make our money. And I share it with everybody. Have you seen? I was flying down 2 years ago, 2023. I went to Cape Town for Energy Week. All of us, big boys, were in business class, first class, flying to Cape Town. While we were coming down to Cape Town, that was the same week the farmers were having their own farmers week in Cape Town. I saw 125 private jets parked in the tarmac. And I asked them who owned this private. I was thinking maybe it was oil and gas. This is farmers in South Africa. Why is it easy for Netherlands? 18 million people. Arable land mass of 1.2, 1.6 million hectares to be able to produce and do $122 billion worth of agro exports with less than 200,000 people working in the agri sector. Yet Nigeria, 220 million people, 70 million people in the agri sector, 64 million land mass, we can't even feed ourselves. Do you know why? They follow the process. Security is in place, the right technology, the right knowledge. I am involved in massive agro project development in the southeast. And I see the numbers every day. In the clusters where we are doing well, you know that you have very hardworking, I have very few very hardworking agronomists, very knowledgeable, guys who made first class agronomy. There's a one particular guy, Emmanuel Abagi. There's another guy, Isaac. First class agronomy. The guy is excellent, less than 25 years old. You could see his work when he's doing his greenhouses. When he's doing his house, you could see the way he followed processes. He studied it, he understood it, and he's very passionate about his work. He does not cut corner. But you see the other ones, some who are very lazy. They don't even come to the farm until about 12. By 3, they are walking away. All they are after is month end, they'll collect salary. And the truth is, seest thou a man diligent in his works, he will sit before kings. And that is the truth. What made Joseph to become the prime minister of the prime minister of Egypt and rule for 8 years was because he was excellent. What made Daniel, a captive, a slave, to become the chief of prison? Because he was excellent. The Bible says concerning Daniel, he was excellent, he was diligent, he was hardworking. There was no corruption found in him. Jacob was a 419 until he encountered God and he repented. For 21 years, his father-in-law cheated him 21 times. He never cheated back. Laban had lazy and useless sons who were not part of his business. Jacob was the brain box behind that business. Even Laban himself said, "Oh, Jacob, I know that God has blessed me because," but yet he cheated him. The guy cheated back. The guy never cheated back. The guy was diligent. The guy was conscientious. The guy was excellent. He was doing his work. After 21 years, God in heaven saw his heart and said, "If I allow this guy to come this way, this man will destroy him." And he sent an angel who opened his eyes to the first genetic mutation, and the guy prospered. What of David? In the battle of the desert, his father even forgot that he existed. His father never even remembered him. Samuel told Jesse, "I am coming to your house." He gave him weeks' notice. Yet, Jesse did not remember that there was a son called that David. He didn't call him. If Samuel was not a man who hears someone, he would have made a mistake. But while the boy was at the back side of the desert, he laid his life down for his people. The lion came, he slew the lion. He never took off. The bear came, he slew the bear. He never took off. There was nothing that was handed into his hand that was ever lost. When it was time for God to make a king or to the king, God did not choose that would be of people that had heights. It was the first time God made there was a mistake. God chose Saul that was the highest, but was very arrogant and was not respectful of God. God had to choose a David, a guy who could lay down his life to protect the weapons, the little things that was given to him to manage. These are the facts. There's nothing that you build following processes. There's nothing that you build with honesty, with integrity, with skills and knowledge that will fail. The foundation of God remains sure. May God have mercy on us. Thank you.